WWE has signed a major star, also potentially a top TNA star leaving the company shortly after winning the World Championship. We're going to talk about that, and a TNA star has announced his retirement plans. It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I want to kick things off with JDC, aka Fandango. Johnny Curtis, you guys might remember him, WWE superstar, TNA star. He's part of the system. He was at TNA Impact, and he announced after Genesis he will be retiring from in-ring action. This has led to a lot of conversation on social media. And it's obviously a relatively big deal because the system is like the bloodline for TNA. I don't know if I would call it apples to apples comparison, but the system has been very, very big proponent for the TNA brand. It's the leading faction. Many great stars are in this group. Obviously, JDC has found a way to really stand out in the group and be a great addition to the group. And with him announcing his retirement, I find it to be an interesting topic because you see what he's done in his wrestling history, and his accolades may not have so many titles and so many, championships and awards and things of that nature. But this guy has been a very big part of professional wrestling, especially when you go back to his days in WWE. I mean, the early NXT days, you got to factor in his run as Fandango. One of the big W's that Vince McMahon took when it came to creating a character that would become so popular. Obviously, we're very aware of him and Chris Jericho. But of course, with JDC, this is a guy who is a veteran's veteran. This is a guy who understands the business, and he's seen so much in the business. And his retirement kind of sucks, man, because I feel like he is still young enough to keep going. I feel like he's still good enough to keep going, and to see that he's retiring is a little, it kind of sucks. It's not like, oh my God, JDC is like this massive draw. He's this massive name in professional wrestling, but I think he's contributed a lot to it. And I like to compare this to his former tag team partner, Tyler Breeze, where it's like, these guys are veterans. They've done some cool stuff in pro wrestling, and despite not winning a whole bunch of championships and being like this huge, massive name, they contribute so much to the show, and they can contribute so much to the industry even after retirement, which is exactly what I would like to see for JDC after as well. That brings us to our next topic, Mike Santana. Everybody was shocked when Mike Santana dropped the belt last night against Frankie Kazarian, and I was blown away by this decision that TNA made. And I've learned my lesson through watching WWE. I mean, you guys have seen this on my channel where, years ago, maybe I would overreact to booking decisions, and now I do let things play out. But there is a very big rumor that Mike Santana is actually out the door of TNA and going to WWE. Now, nothing has been confirmed at all whatsoever, but after him winning the TNA World Championship at Bound for Glory, then TNA goes on a 4-week hiatus with pre-tapes, and then they did the open fight night thing. Then they have him on a live episode at Full Sail, and then he drops the belt to Kazarian. Something about this feels very off. Something about this feels very wrong. And quite frankly, if Mike Santana is in fact staying with TNA, I really, really hope the plan is better than what we have just received. This is one of the few times where TNA has had me scratching my head, and if I'm just being honest, I don't understand this booking decision at all. And the two things that keep getting brought up is, hey, he's on his way out, or maybe he's injured and it's not being disclosed. And of course, with wrestling gossip, everybody's going to go and talk about this, and they're going to come up with their own, their own feelings towards it. But Mike Santana was the perfect guy to dethrone Trick Williams. And now we're watching in real time that Mike Santana is no longer the champion. And listen, I actually don't hate Kazarian at all. Frankie Kazarian deserves a world championship. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the world championship. But at the same time, too, the way they did the gauntlet match, the way that they're doing this title change, and then you have NXT guys invading TNA, something about this just feels fishy. Something about this feels wrong. And quite frankly, I don't like it. And I'm trying not to overreact. But like I said, I hope if Santana is in fact staying with TNA, I am hoping, genuinely speaking, that there is a plan that is really good. Because if there is not a good plan here, and the point of this was just to get the belt off of WWE, and maybe they don't see Mike Santana as a top guy, that would be very worrisome to me. And I have a little bit of confidence in Tommy Dreamer, and I have confidence in Carlos Silva and the people at TNA. And maybe this is, me just being optimistic, but I have this confidence that they are very aware of what people say about their product. And I just can't imagine, especially Tommy Dreamer, somebody who's very influential backstage, I can't imagine having them take the belt off Santana without a plan. So I'm hoping there is some sort of plan. My prediction is that despite the rumors and despite the gossip that is happening in the last 24 hours, my prediction is that Mike Santana will actually win the belt back on the first episode when they go live on their new TV deal. So that's my belief, but I could definitely be wrong there, and who knows. And that brings us to our final topic. Ladies and gentlemen, WWE have officially signed Joe Hendry. Now, this is a very complicated subject matter, but we are staying on the trend of TNA today. Obviously, Joe Hendry, part of TNA, we knew he was going to inevitably be in WWE. However, Sean Ross Sapp actually confirmed it's official. Like, he's officially signed with WWE. And with that being said, he's no longer in TNA. There was some stuff about him possibly being in a contract until the end of the year. There was rumors that WWE was looking to buy him out of his contract. Shawn Michaels really pushed for Joe Hendry. I mean, a lot of it makes sense. I get it. I totally get it. But now it's official. I knew this was inevitable. Obviously, we had kind of talked about this for a while, that he's going to go there. This is a very big deal, maybe 10 months ago. And with all due respect, as much as I like Joe Hendry, and I think he's a very stand-up guy, and I think he's a very good talent, to me, Joe Hendry going to WWE, and I see WWE just, they keep memeing the guy. It's a meme. You know what I mean? And I think for me personally, I would like to see Joe Hendry do a little bit more serious stuff in WWE. And I think WWE only wanted Joe Hendry because of the social media and how over he was in the theme song and things of that nature. But the writing was on the wall for a very long time. WWE was totally cool with putting him on WrestleMania deep down inside because they knew they were going to have him eventually. But it is what it is. And I like Joe Hendry, so hopefully it all works out. I would just like to see a character shift. Maybe WWE not rely too much on the chants, the theme song, and say his name and he appears. WWE's kind of been abusing that a lot on NXT television. We'll see what happens, though. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think down below.